Hey guys, Canada calling, and I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story about a Canadian that's half American. That's me. And I only found out that glorious information after Trump came into office the first time. Here's what I learned from my American family that you guys should know. You question the idea of racism in the United States and whether or not that's actually happening. And so when I met my family, I had an opportunity to go spend a week with them in Florida in a gated community full of white people, ex-military. They're full. It's full down there, right? It's bad. So anyway, I went to spend a week with them in Florida, and they were really nice. Okay, here's the part that's so hard is this guy is my biological father's cousin. I've never met my father, so he was the only way to really get to know him to any story. And he only knew him till he was 12. My bio dad was murdered in Montreal in 1969. So it was a big deep dive into who this other part of my biology is, because I've always known my mother's family. I was adopted by them. So anyway, so we go to Florida. Here's the conversation I want to tell you about. We talk often, my cousin and I would talk about politics. It was the first time I ever got called a libtard. I didn't even know what that was. And Antifa, I'm definitely anti-fascist, but that to them is communism. And when I said to him about the racism, well, the next day we had to go to Walmart to get something. And first of all, his first response was, my best friend was black, blah, blah. Please don't best friend my best friend was black me. And the second thing that happened is this. He did everything he did to try and prove his non-racismness. So we go to Walmart, and every black guy that he saw in Walmart, he was like, hey brother, hey brother. and inevitably the black guy would look at me and go, what the fuck is this? Hey brother, hey brother. So I asked my cousin Stephen, did you ever hear like black music? Culturally black music? So he starts showing me music. He has not heard a single black artist in his life. Not a one. Okay, so that's a culture. That's a thing. The second thing I said, well, hey man, maybe you know some reggae. You know reggae? And he thought Electric Avenue was reggae. And then this thing about racism and trying to pretend like every black person. While I stayed with those people, I had to walk 3 to 4 miles a day just to find somebody that wasn't white, because I wasn't living in white land all week. Not happening. I don't know. It's like some weird culture. I have no idea. But I realize the skin is white and I'm white, and that is not okay with me. In Florida, all the racism is sort of surrounded by, it's centralized in churches. It's got a great deal to do with Christian nationalism, which has nothing to do with Jesus or religion, or, well, maybe religion, but nothing to do with actual Jesus. So anyway, I just want to share that perspective with you guys, because as a person who's adopted and discovering half your biology, you want to say, well, it doesn't matter, you were raised by good people and you're Canadian and but there is something distinctly inside of me that is extremely connected to the civil rights movement in the United States. In fact, when I was very young, 16, went to university because I could read stuff and regurgitate it, not because I'm particularly brilliant. And so I went and I took political science in university at 16. Before I knew my biology at all, my very first area of study was civil rights in the United States. And I wrote all my end year and graduate papers on Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. So I'm really interested in what's happening right now. I have a mixed race family. Originally, my son was supposed to get married in the United States. They had to withdraw that because of the danger to all of our family, not only the non-white members. So I want to say also that this is not black people's race or fight. They've done the fight. Okay, they did the fight. Boy, did they do the fight. So now it's up to us, people like you and me that care about this issue, not only because I have grandchildren that could be in danger if they travel 20 kilometers over to our American neighbors, So we can't allow ourselves to go backwards. One of the ways that we can solve racism, solve it, because in the 1980s, my dad wrote his doctorate when I was getting my BA, and his doctorate was all about populations overflowing and the world coming into this conflict, cultural conflict, because everybody needs to replace themselves. Please remember, if you're white, that means you arrived here because you're either British or English or French, or you're from one of those places. And one of the reasons that we came here in the 16 and 1700s was because our ancestors had destroyed the land. They burnt all the wood down. They burnt all the trees down. They had taken the forests to nothing, and they had eaten most of the small game. So there was a lack of food, resources, and future in Europe. That's why Europe came to North America. Let us not do the same thing here. Let's make sure that we are caring for the land and for our families. And here's how we solve racism, is you make sure that you get to know really well somebody of a culture that you feel afraid of, like a Muslim person. Muslim is very strange for us, right? And I'm not talking about the Nation of Islam. This is a whole different thing. I'm talking about people who worship 4 times a day and do that kind of thing. Listen, if it's not your thing, that's cool. But you cannot hate a whole culture of people if you know just one. And having been brought up in a very privileged life where I had no idea that there were places in the world that were all one color. I had no idea. I grew up in Dorval, the first airport in Montreal, and I didn't know my best friend was Jamaican. My other best friend was a white adopted kid, so I thought, half the kids were adopted. Like, I had a really strange perception of the world. My other friend was Filipino. I mean, come on. So, don't be afraid of each other. In the United States, they're starting to lynch people again. Well, they have always lynched people. But now they're really lynching people. So make sure you stand with your brother or sister, whoever that person that is beside you, no matter the color. Listen, ants, tiny bugs, they don't differentiate by species, okay? Be as smart as an ant, at least. Thanks for listening. I will be back with another rant one day.